gonna have a great time doing it. So we're gonna wait for our gauge. I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Defiant Jeep. Today we're going to be working on the Defiant one more time. Well, what we're going to be doing is replacing this hook that's on the winch. Now, why do you want to replace it? Some may ask. There's nothing wrong with the winch. It's actually a very good hook on the winch itself. But I'm looking for a different design, something a little bit more lightweight, something that doesn't dangle or flap around when I'm driving on the road or off-road. So we've decided to go with this type of hook mount. It is an Apex by Badlands. Now, I know you're going to ask, why'd you go with Apex? There's Factor 55. There's other brands out there. Well, one, it was lesser expensive than the other brands. Two, it's rated at 60,000 pounds. That's 8 tons. Now, I know a lot of manufacturers put that stamp on there, but what most people don't know or understand is to make this claim, they still do have to go through government testing. It has to be approved to be rated at that, and it has been. So for the low price of $45 at Harbor Freight, I went ahead and I picked one of these up, and it looks pretty cool, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, to get started with it, we're first going to go ahead and remove that hook. So we're going to loosen the cable. We're going to pull out some of the synthetic rope. I'm going to show you how to dismount that hook and install this one. Let me go ahead and get started here. Okay, now that we're already prepared for the uninstall of that hook and install of this new hook mount here, let's go ahead and pull out some of the rope. Now, I know I was about to go ahead and do that, but as a reminder, please use your gloves. At the bare minimum, protect your hands. Even though the line itself is a synthetic rope and a hook, you know, it's got a strength for a purpose, and it can cut if not handled correctly. So let's go ahead and protect your hands at all times. Okay, so let's go ahead and I am going to loosen the gear. I freed it up. Ooh. There we go. Get this little line protector out of the way. I was able to pull some of my rope out. Okay, and that should be good. Now I'm going to go ahead and re-engage the gear so I don't pull it out anymore or have to winch anymore back in. Now let's take a look at this for a moment. Now, this is actually smaller than I thought. So let me pull some more out. I want to show you something here. That'll probably do. Now you can see on this hook, the pin is held on by a cotter pin, which is this pin right here. So all we're going to do is squeeze this cotter pin, pull out this pin, and then we're going to release the rope from the hook. At the same time, when we replace it with the new one, I'm going to lose this little warning flag, but it's okay. It's like seriously faded. It's not as bright as it used to be. So right now, no loss, so there's no harm, no foul. So let me just grab a pair of pliers. We're going to take out this cotter pin. I'm sorry, that cotter pin. And then we're going to release this retaining pin. So let's go ahead and get that started. My handy little toolbox over here. I know I got a pair of combination pliers. I'm going to squeeze the cotter. And let's go ahead and push this guy out. Oh, looks good. Alrighty. And with a small screwdriver, I'm going to pry the rest out, which is enough to wedge this in there. If you can see, I've squeezed the cotter pin enough to get it in there, And now with a tiny screwdriver, I'm gonna wedge it in there, pull out the rest, and there it is. All right, so honestly, this cotter pin has seen better days. It's got a little bit of rust on it, and cotter pins are really inexpensive enough that we can get rid of it. So now with the cotter pin free out of the way, we're gonna pull out this retaining pin, which is loose. I'll put that down. I just freed my rope, and here's the other hook that actually came with the winch. So this is definitely a good device. We're still going to hang on to it for spare parts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this hook. It's in great shape aside that it's sun faded. You know, I can always replace the strap. I'm sure they're cheap enough and it doesn't matter. If I want to replace the hook on my wife's Jeep, or just have it as a spare for whatever emergency reason, we got it. All right, so let's go ahead and put that one down. Now, let me show you something here about this hook. Let me close that. Let me close that. Okay, so now it does have the rubber backing on the bottom, which is just a cover. And it's pretty much there for protection because you don't want this aluminum riding against the aluminum or your fairlead. What's going to happen is it's going to start to scratch and desurface the face and stuff like that. And it's going to start to get ugly. It's aluminum, so it won't rot or rust, but you know, you want to protect it while you can. So we're going to keep this rubber padding on here. Now, it's got a very large retaining pin inside. And you can see that it's held in by a snap ring, or some people call it a C-ring. And this is an internal type, meaning that you have to squeeze it in order to get it out or put it back in, versus the external type that you have to expand out to slide over and lock. And we went ahead and picked up an inexpensive snap ring plier from Harbor Freight. Yeah, it was $5, but you know what? I'm the at-home do-it-yourselfer. I don't do this for a living. I never claimed to be that professional, so Harbor Freight tools are good enough for me. So now, as I was mentioning, the two kinds of snap rings. This one is preset like a regular pair of pliers, so if you squeeze the handle, it squeezes the jaw. Now there is a setting where you can switch this around, and when you squeeze the handle, it expands the jaw, and those would be for the external rings. And you can tell the difference between the external and internal snap rings because of the way that the shape is of the retainer itself. In fact, let's take a look at this for a second. You can see there how the little circle dots are at the end, but more towards the inner of the hole. You can tell these are internals. Now, the ones that are made for external is exactly the same shape, except for this end right here, because it's going to go on the outside, they're more on the outer side of the ring versus the inner side of the ring. That's a dead giveaway on how you can tell that these are made for what its application is. But since my plier is already set, let's go ahead and take advantage of this situation right now. And we're going to mount it in there. Got a good grip. We're going to squeeze. Really, bro? Help me out here, man. You're making me look bad. Ooh, almost got it. Let's try it again, because these things are really, really tight. And you want to be careful with snap rings because I don't know what their tensile strength is or any of that other technical term for metallurgy, you know, but if you compress or expand them too far, they will break, and then you're just stuck in a position of having to find yourself another one. Alrighty, so with my pliers, I went ahead and I removed the retaining ring, or snap ring, or more commonly the C-ring. Got that one removed out. We're going to go ahead and let our little pin come right out. So now we have this opening right there. What we're going to do is let's go ahead and grab our rope once again, double checking the pin. Both sides are identical. Everything looks wonderful. So we got our rope. We got the slot where the rope goes through. We're going to go ahead and present it. We are going to put our pin back in there. So now we have the hook and the rope mounted in its position. Of course, the backing has got a smaller hole so that the pin doesn't slide out, but you can still see it's there. Now, we're going to remember that there is a groove, and I don't know if you can see it very well. There's a little groove right in there. That's where the snap ring is going to sit. So we're going to make sure it gets in there comfortably. We're going to still make sure that there's a little play in the pin because you don't want it to bind. And once that's done, we're just gonna wind the rope back into the winch. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Let's put the C-ring back in and we're about done. You know, for argument's sake of this one, I went ahead and I removed my gloves. They were getting a bit cumbersome, so I decided to take them off. That looks good. Let's go ahead and put this guy back in there. Now let's go ahead and put him back in. We want to make sure it has got the right good snap in there, freely. Oh, it's beautiful. And it's back in. Alrighty. So it looks like we're good to go. We went ahead and replaced our hook mount on our rope. Replaced the old rope. And this is actually a wonderful little device right here. That this opening right here, it's not just a whole opening. It's so big you can actually fit a D-ring here instead of using some other appliance to try and make them come together. So let's say that you're trying to winch yourself out and you're using a tree as an anchor point. So you got your tree saver around the tree, and the tree saver's got two loops around it, just like any other recovery rope. You can go ahead and use this from your winch and one D-ring, where the D-ring is going to loop and connect the two ends of the tree saver and go through this all in one turn. I'm sorry, I don't have an additional D-ring here to demonstrate, but it actually works out very well. Let's go ahead and winch it back in. Whew. All right, but yeah, we are about done. All we got to do is just reel in the rope, and we're good to go. Okay, so for all intents and purposes of safety and of course care, I went ahead and put my gloves back on because now I'm going to be handling the winch and the rope, and of course I'm going to make sure that everything is stable and whatnot. We're going to go ahead and just turn the engine on, and we're going to do that because the winch itself is going to just draw a lot of power. We all know this. But yeah, that's all I got to do is wind it back in and we're all set. Thank you for joining. I do appreciate you joining Defiant Jeep today. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. And we have other links, including Rumble, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to connect with us there. Don't forget to join us at Desert Wranglers at www.desertwranglers.club. We'll see you on the trails. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.